So a small electrical contractor. 2023 we did 160 in revenue. 2024 I did 1.1 million.
Whoa!
With 4 guys, but I had to fire 2 of them. So I guess my question is, how do I find qualified electricians that are licensed that don't drink on the job or do drugs or any other nefarious activities?
Yeah. Well, as you're discovering, hiring qualified people with high character is hard because there's not as many of those as there is doofuses.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah. There's a high percentage of doofuses in the population and a small percentage of winners. And so what you and I are always looking for is we're looking for the winners. We're looking for the thoroughbreds, not the donkeys. You can't win the Kentucky Derby with a donkey, and you were right to fire these guys.
And you could find, electricians that are licensed. The issue is they don't fit my culture. Like I work until the job's done. The customer satisfaction is my number one priority. But getting people that have that same vision,
they exist. They're just more rare than the other kind. And they do exist in every field, including electricians. We work with electricians all over America in EntreLeadership, and they are able to put together a quality culture with quality people. But Tyler, what you're experiencing is a standard frustration. It is very hard. You are looking for the top, 10 to 20% of human beings walking around out there with an electrician's license. And they're harder to find than the donkeys. There's more donkeys than thoroughbreds, man. That's why we watch the Kentucky Derby.
Yep. So would you maybe slow down the growth? And because the goal for this year was about 2.6 million, but I can't do that with just me and a guy, obviously. So we're going to obviously cut back a little bit until we take the time to find those good guys.
If you have to, I would grow slower rather than grow fast and have to do it over and over again. Because as you have discovered, doing it over and over again is kind of a frustrating experience. And so, but I want you to change your language. You've kind of got this impossibility thing out there, like these are unicorns, like they don't really exist. They do exist. There is just fewer of them, and they are harder to find. Here's the great news. Once you've established and you've got 4 or 5 or 6 thoroughbreds on your team that are high character people that care deeply about the outcome, and they know how to wire a fuse box without blowing something up, and they have their license. Once you've got a few of these, they will let the other ones know because they know who the other ones are. Thoroughbreds run around with thoroughbreds. Donkeys run around with donkeys. That's who in their personal lives. And when they're on a job, they can look over at the competitor. They know who's over there. And you'll attract them just because you'll become known as the place to go work where you don't have to put up with, drug use, and you don't have to put up with misbehavior on the job and lack of character in the human beings. And you'll become known as the guy that's where they want to work. Let me give you an example of that. You ever been to a Chick-Fil-A?
Yes.
You know what kind of teenagers are at Chick-Fil-A?
Not sure, no.
Thoroughbreds. The best thoroughbreds on the planet. You know why they all want to go work at Chick-Fil-A? Because Chick-fil-A has a reputation of having thoroughbred teenagers in there. And so moms and dads can let their teenagers go work there and learn something about hard work and learn something about customer service without fear that the senior manager's doing cocaine in the back. Right?
Yeah.
It's become a cultural, it's become very attractive, but it's almost as if it's a part of their brand now.
Yeah. It's a great culture they have going. But would you only compete on price? Being such a small company, I can't offer, health benefits. We offer 401k with no match, but
what you can offer is treating people right, and everybody else pisses on them.
Makes sense.
And I have never overpaid intentionally to hire someone in just on price. A few times that I got close to doing that, it didn't work out because they were here for the wrong reasons. You want people to join this team because they want to be treated like family. They want to be treated with dignity. They want to be working for a guy who has a backbone, who gets his work done, and has a love for the people that work there. He takes care of them, takes care of their family. Something happens, somebody needs needs something. You reach over and take care of them. Family businesses are the best thing to work for on the planet instead of corporate America, because corporate America pisses on people. And so it's the best place to work. And so for years, we've used that as our hiring brand differentiator. That this is a great place to work. It's a culture where people behave. It's a culture where we care deeply about the outcome. And if you want to misbehave and you want to do all these other, horrible behavior things that people do in the workplace normally, you're not going to fit in around here because we're going to hit the eject button on your butt. And so you're not going to be here. We don't do that. You don't get to be a we if you're doing that. And so we've developed this reputation as being an excellent place to work. And we pay good wages. We pay market rate wages. But if somebody comes along and starts jacking wages up next door, then people want to go over there for that, then they need to go over there. Because I'm not jacking wages up to keep people or to attract people above market. We pay a fair wage for a fair day's work, and we have one of the best places to work in America. And we're very proud of that. And you can develop that exact kind of thing in the world of construction, in the world of an electrician. But it is harder because you're looking for the top 10, maybe 20% of human beings walking around that have an electrician's license. The other 70 or 80% aren't worth screwing with. They're problems. And you've already experienced that. So it has, at times, over the 30 years, been very frustrating for us here at Ramsey. And I will tell you, coaching 10,000 plus businesses across America, it's probably the number one pain point that people have is how to get the donkeys out of the building, how to get the thoroughbreds in the building. And it's a constant pain point for those of us that run businesses and actually care about our team and actually care about our brand and actually care about our culture. It is harder to do this, but in the long run, it's easier because you get to come to work with people that you actually freaking like. Instead of going, God, man, I have to take a shower every time I have a meeting with that guy. It's gross, and people feel that way. They feel slimed because there's slime in the room. You just have to, you have to deal with this. It's just so hard, Tyler. I know, and it is frustrating. But you can do this, and you need to do it the right way because you're going to have a better life if you do it the right way. That's the direction I would go. It's the direction I have gone. It's the direction we've taught for 25 years for small businesses to do.